So, AI in the classroom, it's not just some futuristic idea anymore, right? It's actually happening. Today, we're going to take you inside a real classroom and see how one teacher is using some pretty powerful AI tools to totally change how they do things. This is a real-world story, straight from the front lines of education.
And boom, this quote just says it all. This isn't some slick sales pitch from a big tech company. Nope, this is a teacher telling us in their own words what's actually working for them. So let's dive right into their experience.
What we're looking at here is a teacher who's really leaning into this new tech. And it's not just about, making their job a little easier. The goal here is way bigger. It's about making their teaching fundamentally better.
Okay, and this is where it gets really interesting. This teacher doesn't just think of these tools as, another piece of software. They actually call them companions. Think about that. Partners that are right there with them, helping out in the classroom.
So, what was the game plan? What did they want to get out of using these AI companions? Well, it came down to three main things. First, make lesson prep way more efficient. Second, take those really tough, complex topics and just simplify them. And third, and this is the big one, find new ways to really, truly engage with the students.
All right, let's break down the tools. First up in the toolkit is Microsoft Copilot. And a good way to think about this one is as a super-powered information synthesizer.
So what does that mean in the real world? Well, it means Copilot can grab a huge amount of information, boil it down to the most important bits, help you write out really clear explanations for your students, and even help you lay out well-structured notes for your lessons. Pretty handy, right?
And this chart really shows you the impact. Look at this. By helping with all these super important but, let's be honest, really time-consuming tasks, Copilot literally saved this teacher hours of prep time. And that's time they can now spend on, well, other things that matter more.
Okay, so Copilot handles the synthesizing part. But what about organizing all that information? That's where tool number 2 comes in, Notebook LM. And I love this description. The teacher calls it their living notebook.
The whole idea here is just wow. Imagine if all your lesson plans and all your reading materials weren't just dead text on a page. What if they were alive? Notebook LM basically turns them into this dynamic, interactive resource that you can literally have a conversation with.
And this breaks down exactly how it works. So, the teacher feeds all their subject material into the tool. Then they can just ask it questions or say, hey, give me a quick summary of this really dense chapter. It can even whip up practice questions or quizzes for the students. The material itself becomes this incredibly rich resource.
So you take Copilot, you take Notebook LM, and you put them together. And what happens? It's not just a small tweak here or there. No, what we're talking about is a fundamental shift in how the entire classroom runs and even how the teacher thinks about their job.
And this slide is everything. It's the before and after. All those hours spent on the grind, the repetitive stuff, the admin work, that time is suddenly back in the teacher's pocket. And where does it go? It goes right back to what matters most, actually guiding the students, being there to answer questions, and really pushing for that deeper, more curious kind of learning.
So if you had to boil it all down, the benefits are basically these three things. 1, you get crystal clear explanations. 2, you save a ton of time. And 3, by taking care of all the grunt work, these tools free up the brain space for the teacher to be more creative and innovative. That's a huge win.
But here's the thing, and this is really the most important part. Saving time, making the job easier, those are awesome side effects for sure. But they aren't the main goal. There's something much, much bigger at the heart of all this.
And there it is, the number one most important outcome, empowering the students. That's it. All this tech, all these new ways of doing things, it all points to one mission, helping kids learn with more confidence and real understanding. That is how you know it's working.
And you know what? This is just the beginning. This teacher makes it clear that this journey is nowhere near finished. It's an ongoing discovery. They're still figuring out all the cool ways these tools can make education better. And honestly, the future looks pretty amazing.
Which kind of leaves us with this big question, doesn't it? We've just heard one incredible story from one teacher, but this is just the start. As these AI tools get smarter and more powerful, how are they going to reshape not just what we teach, but the very way we learn things? It's something to think about.